Large swarm of desert locusts has invaded Wajir town for the second time in 3 days. Residents of the town were overwhelmed by the locusts that were surging in large numbers. The county was entirely attacked by the locusts in the past weeks that came in through the Somalia border. The government has identified Wajir County as a desert locust control base. Isadin Haji reports from Wajir.
Millions of desert locusts forming a large cloud filled Wajir town's airspace in the morning of Wednesday. Nearly every home in this town had a task of battling this large swarm, most of them overwhelmed by the numbers of the locusts. This is the second time in 3 days that locusts are migrating through Wajir town.
Leo asubuhi tulipoamka tuliamkia tukiwa tumefahamiwa nzige. Tukapambana na hiyo nzige, ilifahamia mashamba yetu area ya Makaror. Tulipambana naye tukapiga kelele na ikaanza kuruka, lakini ilikula shamba.
It is believed that these locusts migrate from the neighboring country Somalia before finding their way to the vast northeastern region. The region has endured a long period of drought that nearly threw them to a humanitarian crisis. This second wave of desert locusts threatened to throw the residents and their domestic animals into a food security crisis. Small-scale farmers here are already feeling the early impacts of locust infestation, and another wave could leave their farmlands without any food crop.
We saw a huge swarm of locusts that couldn't be counted. It ate the grass that I planted. I was alone in the farm and they overwhelmed me.
The government says that it is prepared to manage the desert locust invasion and that it has a team of dedicated experts that will monitor and spray the locusts before it spreads across the country. Wajir County has been identified as the center for desert locust control in the entire region.
Constant surveillance, constant comparing of notes between ourselves and the experts who are advising us, constant reviews of our actions on the ground will help us move forward in terms of being able to be effective in controlling the situation.
A typical swarm can be made up of 150 million locusts per kilometer square and fly in the direction of the prevailing wind up to 150 kilometers in one day. Even a very small 1 kilometer square locust swarm can eat the same amount of food in a day as about 35,000 people. The government of Kenya has promised that it is ready and prepared to control locusts in this second wave, but what worries many people in northern Kenya is the magnitude of recurrent swarms that sneak into the country through the Somali border. They fear that some might reach farthest corners of the country without getting control, hence causing food insecurity. Isadin Haji, TV 47, Wajir County.